we are at what I call my cutting table, but it is actually my kitchen table because I don't have a lot of space. So I thought I would show you all kind of how I'm going to cut out my dog collars. I'm going to make 2 of these because I don't have any muslin fabric, and luckily I have a lot of this fabric left over from a quilt that I was making, my husband and I. So I am going to start out with, I believe, a 12 by 12 square. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a 12-inch cut right here so that I know that my, I wonder if I should do it over here. Let's see. I'm going to start out with 12-inch square piece of fabric. I'm actually going to cut 2 out of this. I've got it folded. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Because I'm new to sewing, I'm going to go a little bit bigger because I'm not sure how straight this is going to be. And then that way I can just cut it off and square it up once I actually get it down to size. So let's go here, and then again I'm going to go to the 13 on here just so I can square it up once I get a smaller piece of fabric. And this is probably wasting some fabric, but until I can learn to make better straight lines, I'd rather waste a little bit than a whole bunch, if that makes sense. So I'm going to cut that. So 12 inches of your exterior fabric, and then you're going to do, also cut 12 inches of interfacing. And then you're going to take this to the iron and you're going to fuse this piece of interfacing onto this fabric. Once you do that, this is what you'll get. It's basically fused together into one piece. And if you notice, the stability of this, as I've showed you all in my bag and wallet making, versus, let me get this other piece. Well, let's fold it right, huh? We want to fold it right. Okay. So this is not going to be as stiff or have the same consistency as one that is interfaced. And once I complete, I don't know if it's just because I've been making so many wallets and bags that this just seems like a frail piece of cotton to me, but once I try it without the interfacing and then try it with the interfacing, I will definitely let you all know which one I prefer. So we've got our interfacing fused to our fabric, and the next thing we want to do is determine where I want to embroider the dog's name. So we know that there's going to be a casing up here anywhere between 1 inch and I would say no bigger than 1.5 to 2 inches. So the casing is going to depend on the size of the collar that the customer uses. I'm going to go ahead and, for this tutorial's sake, I'm going to go ahead and estimate it's going to be a 1-inch collar. So I'm going to make a casing here that's going to be approximately 1¼ inches, because I want to be able to make sure that my webbing can go through, or the handmade collar, either the webbing or the collar that's made from fabric. I want to be able to make sure that I can get that collar through this casing. So I have gone in the center here and I have marked a line, which you might not be able to see it, so I'll make it bigger with this chalk. I have marked a line here for 1¼ inches. And this is going to give me a reference as to where my casing is going to go for that collar. There. There. Okay. Now this is chalk, so this is going to wipe away. We've already established that in our previous videos. And now I want to see, where do I think it is best fit for the name to go. We know that this is going to hang like this. So let's set that like that. And if this was going to be on the dog, obviously I wouldn't want it down here because you're not going to be able to fit that many letters. So I at least want to mark off 3 inches. So again, I'm going to go to the center of my collar. And I already have a faint line here, but I'm going to make it a little bit darker so y'all can see. I'm going to go ahead and mark 3 inches up from the bottom. So I'm marking 3 inches up from the bottom. So I know I don't want the name below this 3-inch mark. I know I don't want the name above the 3-inch mark. Let me bring y'all in. I'm trying to work on the autofocus on this camera. I definitely don't like it. It's not my favorite. Okay. Yeah, let me just pull this over so you guys can see a little better. So I know that I don't want any name below this line or above this line. I want to fit it somewhere here in the center. And I think, let's go halfway. So between this line and this line, I have 4 inches. So I'm going to take it at about the 2-inch mark. So I'm going to make a mark there. Not all the way across, just one like that. And when I go to the embroidery machine, and I use Embrilliance, with my Brother PE 800, I use a program called Embrilliance to make my embroidery designs. Actually, I purchased the design, but I print them on the Brother machine. Not print, but embroider. So I'm going to make sure that when I print my test print, and I'll show you what that is when we get there, I'm going to make sure that it's going to fit in between here and here, and here and here. So let me go ahead and measure that now and see what I've got. I've got approximately 7 1/4 inches. So I need to keep it in between. We want to take about 1 inch off each side. So I want to keep it at least 2, 4, 5, I'd say about 5 1/2 inches. No bigger than 5 1/2 inches in width. Do I want the name? We are going to reference a 1-inch webbing. This is some example webbing. This is what 1 inch looks like. This, it looks like this is 2-inch webbing. This to me is pretty thick. That is a huge collar. So you're going to want to have a casing for your collar anywhere between 1 inch and 2 inch. And I would say about 1 1/2 is going to be the biggest you're going to want to go. Unless you've got Brutus. Then you're going to want to use something like this. Okay. So we were discussing the markings for our, where we want to place our design. And we know we want to place it between here and along here. So I am going to mark, I'm going to line this line up with that line. And instead of putting my fabric inside this hoop with the stabilizer, what I'm going to do is use some basting spray. I'm not going to spray this on my mat because my mat will, everything will stick to my mat. But I'm just going to spray right around that inside where I know my fabric is going to be. So I have sprayed pretty much all along here. This is the bottom. So we are going to fold this fabric to that white line that we made. And we are going to place it right there, directly in the middle, and press down. Lift it up. And make sure we are lined up in the center. I probably should have done a center marking, just to make sure. I might go ahead and do that, but that's okay, right? Okay, so I'm lining up this center line with this center point. Let me zoom in so you can see, which I'm sure you know what I'm saying. But just to be on the safe side, it's best to zoom in and get a good idea. Okay, so this center point right here, I'm lining up with this center point. Fold it over. Okay, we have our stabilizer in the hoop. We have our hoop sprayed with the 505 adhesive spray. We have marked all of our quarter marks, and we have floated our fabric on top of our hoop, ensuring that all of our lines meet up. So we are completely center. Now we will take this to the embroidery machine, and I will show you how to upload your image into the PE800 and start stitching out Gypsy on this collar. We are here at my computer. As you can see, here's my amazing husband. Love him. He's so handsome. I have pulled up Embrilliance, as I stated, and what I want to do is I want to stitch out my sister's dog's name. So if you can see this grid, each one of these boxes represents a 1-inch square, as I'm sure you know. And this outline right here of a rectangle is actually a representation of your hoop. If you look down here, I'm trying to make my arrow get big so you can see, you're going to see the hoop size. Now, my hoop I'm hoping to use is going to be a 5x7. A 5x7 is 127 millimeters by 177.8 millimeters, I believe. So this right here is going to work perfect. 130 millimeters by 180. And that's the size hoop I want to use. Now, when I want to import, let's see, there we go. I like that. I think that definitely changed for me, but at least I can see my grid a little better. Okay, so when I want to import some fonts, I'm going to go up here where you see this create a lettering design. I'm going to click on it, and it's automatically going to put some letters in there for me as a reference, and let me know it's going to start right in the smack center of my hoop. So this is telling me that a 7/16 of an inch. I like it at a millimeter. No, I'm going to keep it there. Okay. I guess I got used to the millimeters, but I'm going to keep it at the inches. Instead of using metric, what is it? Metric? Yeah. Instead of using that, I'm going to use the inches. So, okay, let me tell you a couple of more things. So, as I said, this right here is going to give us our letters. It's automatically going to put a few letters up there as for reference. Over here, I am going to be able to pull up only embroidery files. So anything that has to do with only embroidery files, I can look up. Now, if I go into my documents, or excuse me, my downloads, I'm going to want to go to my embroidery fonts, and I can see them right there. But what's easier is if you go over here to the right hand side and you see this text right here, it's going to give me, right below it, it's going to say font. Hit that arrow button, and this right here is going to give you a picture depiction of what font you can use. Obviously, we know what this comes from, right? This is the Disney font. I can tell that by looking at it. Okay, for the dog collars, I just want to use a classic, nice, bold font. So I think I am going to use 2.5 inch. That means all of each letter will be 2.5 inches. That might be too big, guys. That might be too big. Let's go with a 1.5 inch. Yeah, I like that. 1.5 inch squared. That's going to be too big, guys. That's going to be too big. Because I need 5.5 inches, and I've got Gypsy. So let's just write this in here, and it will readjust it. So let's write Gypsy. Go up here to where you see text. Highlight that ABC, and let's write Gypsy. Okay, so I've got Gypsy in there. All I need to do is press enter, and boom, I've got Gypsy. Okay, now this is going to tell me that obviously I'm running over this side of the hoop, and I'm running over this side of the hoop. So I need to go up here and see what is this telling me. This is 2. Okay, my width is 5.5 inches. So that is every bit of what I needed to use. So I need to move this down to about 85%. 85%. Okay, now I'm at 4 11/16 inch. That gives me a little room on each side. So, and again, I'm right centered. I'm centered right in the middle. So you can change your percentage right here for size. So, as it states there, or you can just change the percentage. And I know that I want to use 85. I could possibly even go 90 and still keep it in the hoop. And still give it a nice, big, bold look. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a few more things about Embrilliance while we're in here. This right here, all I would do now is I would go up here to the top of my computer. I would hit File. Save as Stitch and Working. This means that I can go back in and I can re-edit this. So I still want to work on this. I still have things that I need to do with this. Maybe I want to go to bed. I don't know. Or I can save it as a stitch file. Save stitch file as. And this means that I am completely done with it. I have done everything to it that I want to do. There's nothing in here that I want to change. I am ready to save it. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to actually save it to a thumb drive, which I don't have in right now because I've got my camera thing in. But I would be saving it to a thumb drive. Once I save it to a thumb drive, I take my thumb drive, I plug it into my PE800, and I just pull it up on there, put my fabric in my hoop, and this is all things you're going to see when I'm ready to stitch it out, and I stitch it out. But let's go back to a few things on this Stitch Artist and show you. So that's how you would save your file. Right here is where you would go to some of your, let's say you want to put a design in here. And I want to go to my embroidery designs. Olaf. Let's check out Olaf. Okay, this is going to tell, again, right here's my PES. I'm the PES. And so this is Olaf. Maybe I want to stitch him out. Let's bring him up. Boom. There he is. In the hoop. Look how cute. And let's go back to Gypsy. Okay, so this is how you're going to bring other embroidery files in. This is how you're going to save. This is how you're going to print. You want to print a design out so that you can place it on your, which is what I'll show you that as well when we're ready to stitch out. You want to print out a design so that you can see how it's going to fit on your product. This is as it says, copy. It's as it says. This is pasting. Same thing on any other computer. These are important. These are your forward and backwards. If you want to go back, let's say you made a mistake and you want to undo, or you undone a little too much and you want to redo. This right here, this is going to show you, and this is important. This is going to show you what the stitching look like. How good is that stitching? So I like that. This is in the 3D mode. Obviously, we all know what the magnifying glass is. This is going to measure. So let's say we want to measure from here to here. That's going to give us our measurements. This is a stitch stimulator. So let's say I want to know when I need to change my colors of thread, or I need to maybe re-hoop and move over a little on my fabric. If I go up here and I push play, it's going to start stitching this out. Let me go fast so it's going to start stitching this thing out. Well, come on now. There we go. You see it? It's going to stitch it out. Now I can slow that down or speed that up so that I can see how each stitch goes, and I know when I need to change my threads, what color's coming next, and how all that works. So again, that's this button right here. This is your stitch simulator. This is taking me back there. Okay, this is a very important button. Right here is going to tell you what hoop you want to use. So do you want to use your 4x4 hoop? Do you want to use, for small projects, do you want to use your 5x7 for your pretty medium and standard projects? Or do you want to use a large hoop, which is a 5x12? So, and that's on the PE 800. And actually, I don't even think, I'm not sure if the PE 800 takes a 5x12. I've got a 5x12 hoop, but I've never tried to use it. So again, that's where you're going to change that. This one right here that looks like the little gear, this is some standard fonts and or some standard designs within your Embrilliance. I don't really use any of these, or I should say I haven't used any of these. So I don't know. I'm not really sure how important they are because I haven't really used any of these to stitch anything out with. So, just, I don't know why. I just haven't. So, I guess I could check those out one day. But as for now, they're not very important to me. This one right here with the A is exactly what it says it is. It's what's going to put your letters and your numbers inside your hoop right here. So that's what that does. And then this one right here, this is going to be where you're going to import. So let me delete some of these. Import some of your fonts as well. So you can go here to the folder, or you can go right here, and this shows all of your, let's say I want to do the little peanut. I think I've done this one for my nephew. No, my second cousin. He was born. So again, I have the PES. You see the PES right here? This is the one I would choose right here. I'm going to do the 5x7 because I'm in the 5x7 hoop, and this pulls that in. And then I go in and I can change the names. Little peanut, I can get rid of these little stitches right here. This one I done for my little nephew or my second cousin, but I could go ahead and eliminate this little peanut, and I can maybe put in Boss Man, that's my son, or Miss America, that's my daughter. So those are their nicknames. I could put those in. It just doesn't, sky's the limit. Okay, so we've got that figured out. I've showed you all the centering the hoop. I've showed you all the fitting to the hoop. I guess that's about the gist of it for the Embrilliance. The rest is just kind of learning as you go. It's definitely a program that takes some time to learn and adjust to and figure out. So up here, this is going to show you your design step by step. Well, possibly. There we go. So you got to click on the design, and this is going to show you each step that it takes. So if you remember earlier, I showed you the stimulator right here. This is actually going to give you a visual beforehand. So you want to see what this step is, it's highlighted. You can see right here, it's highlighted. You want to see what 1, 3 is, you're going to see, again, it's highlighted. See these boxes around it, it's going to highlight which one it is. We want to see this one, again, highlighted, and there we go. So let's say I want to delete this one and move last. I can move it to the bottom, and I can actually, I thought I could delete this one. Yeah, I can delete the whole little brother thing. And let's say I wanted to put in a name. Well, we've already done that, so I'm not going to keep you on that. You know, you just go to your text, and let's put in Miss America. Okay, I probably could have split those up, but you see what I mean. So let's say I just wanted to put Miss America up there, right? Boom, that's how you do that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. This is your pre-tutorial on the Embrilliance software. Nothing in depth, but just a few ins and outs of it. And I'm going to go ahead and get our file ready to put on some fabric, get that gypsy in and on place, and let's get to stitching, guys. Let's get to stitching. So one more thing I want to show you before we go to the embroidery machine is, if you remember, I showed you how Embrilliance worked and getting this name on your screen. This is the printout. So when you go to file in the top left hand corner and you hit print, it's going to give you a detailed list of your thread changes, and I'm only going to have one, and I'm not even using this color. I just didn't mind changing it because I know I'm just going to use black. We had originally picked out a maroon, but it doesn't show up good with this fabric, so I'm going to have to use black to have any kind of contrasting look on here. So this right here is going to give me an idea of exactly how big this is going to print out. And it has a marking on here that shows me the center of the file. So right here, just like we marked on our hoop and our material, our fabric, right here's my center mark. So this is the exact center of the design. Okay, so here we are at my embroidery machine. Let me get comfortable. Okay, this is going to be your carriage for the embroidery unit. It is going to move once we hit the OK, and that's what it's telling me here. Raise the presser foot, and there we go. It's going to move. Okay, now in a embroidery machine, you're never supposed to see the thread on the bottom. So your bobbin thread, I use pre-wound bobbins, and I get those from Amazon, and all of it's white, just pre-wound white bobbins. I use embroidery thread. I did buy a starter pack off of Amazon, and then my husband and I had gotten a big bundle of thread from All Stitch, you know, before everything happened. But anyways, okay, so do I want to recall and resume my previous stitch design? No, I don't. So hit cancel. This right here is my thumb drive, and I want to go ahead and insert that on the right side of the machine. I'll do that now, right here. I'm going to try anyways. Kristen. There we go. Okay, so I've got that inserted. What I want to do is I want to hit this button right here. And this is going to pull up. Well, first let's put our hoop on. Right here's my hoop. We've already checked our design and made sure that everything is looking good. So I know that this is going to place on there nice and neat. So as I told y'all earlier, this portion of your hoop is what goes on the lever of the machine. And that's right here. Okay, so I'm going to set that in there and press that down on the machine. There's a little lever right here you want to push in so that it snaps in nice and securely. Sorry, I'm trying to keep my head out of the way and be nice and zoomed in so y'all can see. Okay, so here we go. I've got this in. As soon as my machine starts, it's going to start directly in the middle of my hoop. Now, before I get started, I want to go ahead and pull my bobbin thread up to the top. So I'm going to lower my presser foot. I'm going to turn my hand wheel towards me. And then I'm going to crank it one time and pull up on my upper thread. And you're going to see your bobbin thread come up from the bottom. So, we're going to need to pull that out. And a good thing to have is a couple of embroidery tools. It's good to have a pair of curved scissors. I don't have a pair of Fiskars or another pair of curved scissors, but I do have my regular snips. So I'm going to use these today. This just has a little curve on here. You can see it right there. I need to go ahead and get me some curved scissors. I also like to use these, I believe these are Tula Pink Stork Scissors. There's my Alexa.
This is a stocks.
It's telling me to check my stocks. Sorry, guys.
This is a reminder.
Sorry.
Check stocks.
Okay. But anyways, these are good to get to some tiny threads, and then when I don't need some so small, these are the ones I like to use the most. These are Kai scissors. They're from the 7000 series, and these are the 7100s. So I really like these. I like Kai scissors. Okay, and one of the most important tools you're going to need for embroidery or for sewing in general is a pair of these big long tweezers, which is what I'm going to use now. I'm going to grab that thread and pull it up. So as you can see, I've got the bobbin thread, and I also have the top thread. I'm just going to move those to the back and make sure my presser foot's lowered, which it is. I'm going to hit this button right here. Sorry, I don't have my little turning thing for the camera. I'm going to hit this button right here, and it is going to, the needle is down. Press the needle position button to raise the needle. I don't know how the needle button's down. Okay. It wasn't down, but okay. So right now it's going to load up all of my designs that are on this thumb drive. It's supposed to. Okay, there we go. I'm going to scroll down so that I can find the one that I'm looking for. I'm just looking for Gypsy's name. Right there it is. Gypsy's name. I'm going to select it. And it's going to tell me the hoops that I can use. I can use a 4x4 or I can use a 5x7. I want to use the 5x7 hoop. So I'm going to say yes, I want to use the 5x7 hoop. Okay, it's just telling me do I want to move it around? Do I want to resize it? Do I want to rotate it? Do I want to change my color threads? It's just giving me some options. And if you guys ever want a tutorial on how to run the embroidery machine, I will definitely do that in the future. But right now we're just learning how to do the dog collars, so I won't get into depth on each of these buttons. Okay, I do not want to edit my design. I'm completely happy with it. As I said before, my sister had picked out a red thread, but you could not see it very well on this bandana pattern, so I had to change it to black. I don't think she'll mind. It's a free collar, so she'll be alright. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to end my edit. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing I do love about this embroidery machine. This is the only embroidery machine I've ever had. But if you select this button right here, and then you hit OK, it's going to map out for you exactly where your design is going to be. Where it's going to land on this fabric. So let me show you that. Here we go. Okay, here we go. No, it didn't do that. Hold on, why didn't it do that? There we go. Now watch this. It's going to show me that this is exactly where my design's going to be. Ooh, I don't think I'm going to like that. That's going to be small. It just didn't feel like it was that small, did it, guys? Okay. Well, that's about right, I guess. Okay. I'm okay with that. I might make it a little bigger next time. But anyways, let's just go ahead and border this one out for shoots and googles. That's what we'll call it. So, here we go. We are fixing to embroider. Again, I'm going to move my threads out of the way. I like to hold on to them for the first couple of seconds, first couple of stitches anyways, just to make sure I don't have any problems. Don't forget, we've got our stabilizer down here, so if it looks like it's pulling any threads through, we can always add more stabilizer. Alright, let's go ahead and embroider this design and see what it looks like. And select this one. Oh, duh. Here we go.